When chosen ones meet, the signs you're not alone. Have you ever met someone and something in you just knew? You couldn't explain it. You barely spoke, but your spirit leaned in because their presence felt like remembrance. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. Because when two chosen ones cross paths, it's never random. It's a divine moment of recognition. This video isn't just about signs, it's about alignment. It's about understanding why your spirit reacts to certain people, why isolation wasn't punishment but preparation, and why the ones you're drawn to spiritually might carry the same oil like you do. If you've ever felt different, deeply marked, or spiritually set apart, this message is for you, because you were never walking alone. You were walking ahead. By the end of this video, you'll understand how divine connection shows up, what it means when someone feels familiar in the spirit, and why these moments are not just personal but prophetic. Before going deeper, I just want you to like this video, subscribe to Secrets of the Bible, and drop 222 in the comments if your spirit has ever recognized someone before your mind could explain it. That number is your signal of divine alignment. Because chosen ones don't just find each other, they're sent to each other. Stay close, what you're about to hear will strengthen your discernment, deepen your confidence, and awaken your knowing. You're not the only one. Before the recognition, there's a season most chosen ones know too well. It's not loud. It's not public. It's quiet, and it's heavy. You walk through life with questions that no one around you seems to ask. You feel deeply, even when you try not to. You're in rooms filled with people, yet you're carrying something they can't see. A weight you never signed up for. A fire you didn't ask to burn with. And slowly, the silence becomes normal. You stop talking about the visions, the warfare, the sudden knowing, because every time you tried, you were met with confusion or distance. So you learn to guard the oil. You learn to carry the call without confirmation. But deep inside, your spirit stayed awake. It stayed alert for the echo of someone who might carry what you carry. Someone who wouldn't need the full explanation because they've walked the wilderness too. That longing, that ache, it's not weakness. It's evidence that your spirit remembers something your life hasn't caught up to yet. A promise that somewhere out there, there's alignment waiting to happen. You're not desperate. You're discerning. You've just been early. And the reason your spirit gets quieter in certain places is because it's waiting for the sound of someone who speaks your language, not with words, but with presence. And just when you've grown used to walking alone, something shifts. You meet someone and you don't even know why your heart starts paying attention. It's not loud. It's not dramatic, but your spirit leans in. There's something about them that feels strangely familiar, not because of what they say, but because of what they carry. And in that moment, without trying, you realize the path you thought you were walking alone was always leading you toward a divine connection. That's when the signs begin to unfold. Not like clues in a puzzle, but like memories awakening inside you. Like your spirit saying, "This is what we've been waiting for." These are 5 signs that you found another chosen ones and you have spiritually connection with them. Sign 1, their diligence speaks volumes, even when words don't. One of the signs someone is chosen like you is how they stay committed even no one's watching. Their actions speak what others can't even say. Their diligence tells a story of purpose. How they live speaks for them. At work, they go extra mile not to impress anyone, but because something inside refuses to settle for average. While others just do enough to get by, they go beyond. Not for approval, but because excellence is their language. You don't hear them brag. You don't see them seek credit. But the fruit of their consistency, it speaks. In today's world, we've been conditioned to equate value with visibility. To think whoever talks the most, posts the most, or pushes the hardest must be the leader. But chosen ones carry a different rhythm. Their authority doesn't come from noise, it comes from diligence. You see it in how they show up even when tired, in how they serve quietly but powerfully, in how they obey even when no one else is watching. That's not personality. That's consecration. That's someone who's been trained in private before they were ever trusted in public. If someone around you is consistently present, quietly powerful, and deeply rooted, you might be standing next to someone chosen. And if your spirit feels a pull, a reverence, even a peace, that's your confirmation. They don't have to prove who they are, because diligence reveals destiny. And that is how you recognize them. Sign 2, they hear your wounds, not just your word. And here's another sign that someone might be chosen just like you are, is their ability to hear more than just your words. They hear your wounds. When you speak, they don't just listen to what you say. They feel what you mean, even when you can't find the right words. It's like they can read the silence between your sentences. Have you noticed that you felt deeply cared and understood by them? You'll notice it in the way they listen. You could be talking about your schedule, your work, your family, and somehow they respond to what's beneath all of that. You didn't say you were hurting. You didn't say you were tired. You might smile, but they sense the weight behind it. They don't need your full story to understand your pain. They carry a kind of empathy that isn't learned. It's spiritual. And when you meet someone like that, someone who sees through the mask and meets you with compassion instead of judgment, that's chosen one. Because chosen ones are often assigned to people like them. They've walked through long, silent seasons. They've prayed prayers that felt like they vanished. And now when they hear your voice, they also hear the ache you're still carrying. In everyday life, this shows up when someone stops you mid-sentence and asks a question you weren't expecting, something like, "Are you really okay?" Not in a casual way, but in a way that makes you feel seen. That's not emotional intelligence. That's spiritual discernment. And if you're not careful, you might dismiss it because it feels too fast, too deep, too much. But chosen ones don't need time to catch your story. They carry the map already because they walked it too. So if someone hears your pain before you voice it, if they respond to the part of you you've never explained, that's recognition. And it's holy. Sign 3, they carry peace that changes the room without needing to lead it. Not every sign reveals itself through words. Some show up in atmosphere like this one. A chosen one doesn't need to take control of a room to change it. They carry a peace that shifts the atmosphere just by being present. You'll feel it before you can name it. They walk into the room and without trying, something settles. The tension drops. The pace slows. The air shifts. They don't have to speak the loudest or take center stage. You don't know why, but around them you breathe easier. You're not on edge. You're not shrinking. You just being you. And for once, that's enough. That's the presence of someone who's walked through storms and learned how to carry stillness. Not because life's been easy, but because they found peace where others would have lost their mind. In modern life, you'll see it in subtle ways. They're the person everyone vents to, but they themselves never feel chaotic. They don't push to be in control, but others naturally lean on them. They don't say much, but their presence makes people feel covered. This peace isn't soft. It's earned. It's the kind that comes from nights of wrestling with God and mornings of choosing joy anyway. The world looks for leaders in loud voices and big stages. But heaven sends leaders in quiet hearts and steady hands. So if someone enters your life and calms the parts of you no one sees, don't overlook it. That's not just a good friend. That's a divine confirmation. Chosen ones shift rooms not by what they say, but by who they are. Sign 4, they carry a mission that mirrors yours. You might come from different backgrounds, speak differently, or walk separate paths. But at the core, you're driven by the same fire. Their purpose feels strangely familiar, like it speaks the same language your soul does. You don't have to explain the burden you carry, they already understand. And then something deeper begins to unfold. You're not just aligned in energy. You're aligned in assignment. It's more than feeling seen. You suddenly realize they're building something that looks like what's been burning in you. Their language sounds like your blueprint. Their prayers echo your burden. The way they talk about purpose, obedience, and calling it wakes up something ancient inside of you. And it's not imitation, it's activation. In real life, this might look like two creatives, both called to speak truth. Two intercessors who've been waking up at the same hour for weeks. Two visionaries who carry the same message in different voices, but when they speak, it's like puzzle pieces finally click. Chosen ones don't just recognize each other in spirit. They recognize each other in strategy. And here's the moment that confirms it. You're no longer thinking we relate. You're thinking we're sent. Because the thing that kept you up at night, they've been dreaming of too. The injustice that stirred your spirit, they've been fighting it too. The holy urgency you carry, they don't calm it, they confirm it. You were never meant to carry this weight alone. And now, they're finding each other. So if someone comes into your life, and instead of just encouraging you, they ignite you, pay attention. You may have just encountered a builder sent to build beside you. Sign 5, they don't just walk with you, they call you higher. And then there's this final sign, the most important one of all. They're not content with comfort or surface-level connection. They challenge you, stretch you, remind you of who you really are when you start to forget. Being around them doesn't just feel good, it makes you grow. They speak the greatness in you, not your excuses. They see your potential even when you're tired, and they don't let you stay small. That kind of presence is rare. That doesn't just feel like alignment. It feels like awakening. Because chosen ones don't just walk beside each other to be comforted, they come into your life to call you higher. There's something about them that sharpens you, not through pressure, but through presence. They speak, and suddenly, compromise feels small. They move, and suddenly, excellence feels natural. You leave their company not just encouraged, but activated. In everyday life, this is the friend who asks you questions that expose the deeper thing. The one who reminds you to pray before you post. The one who won't let you shrink. They're not impressed by your gifting. They're invested in your growth. And you'll know they're chosen because they never compete with your calling. They protect it. They cover it. They challenge it in love. Because chosen ones don't just carry light, they refuse to let yours dim. So if you meet someone who doesn't flatter your flesh, but instead feeds your spirit, that's more than a good connection. That's kingdom alignment. That's a divine partnership. That's someone sent to remind you, you're not walking alone and you're not walking small. And maybe as you listened, you started thinking of someone. Maybe it was just one sign. Maybe it was all of them. But something in your spirit said, that's them. A person whose presence brought peace, whose silence spoke louder than noise, whose walk reminded you of your own, not because they copied you, but because they were called to. That's not random. That's not imagination. That's recognition. Because when chosen ones cross paths, it's never about chance. It's always about timing. So don't ignore that feeling. Don't silence that memory. It may be the connection you've been praying for, and now it's up to you to honor it. Drop 222 in the comments if your spirit resonated with one or more of these signs. If someone came to mind, send this to them. And if you feel something stirring, don't brush it off. Because alignment isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers, "You're not the only one. You're just the first to remember."